Greetings, everybody. We are here on a Friday evening. It's 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and you have tuned into Stomping on Eggshells with Trinette Hackett. It's an interesting series for manifold reasons, but the main thing that we're doing here is giving Trinette a place and time where she can voice her thoughts, her experiences, and process a very important part of her life. So we're going to turn it over to her right now, and she's going to catch up with everything that we took a break for a few months, and we will definitely be catching up now. So Trinette, I turn it over to you, and the airwaves are yours.
All right, thank you, Roland. A couple of things I want to be going over today is how there's three things really. How surviving doesn't necessarily mean living. What has what people have well-meaningly told me. Well, meaningly isn't really a word, but they've told me things, and it definitely has not helped me. In some ways, it's damaged my healing, and how I do juggle this, and what has helped me. But first, I'm gonna kind of get on a soapbox here. And since this is kind of my platform soapbox, it's a soapbox on top of a soapbox. It's like soapbox inception. Um, one of the things that I've brought up a lot is, and I acknowledge it, this topic is completely uncomfortable. And my response to that every time is, it kind of should be, you know? Obviously, due to time constraints or guilty curiosity, more people watch these videos after the fact than live, okay? And for a second, I'm not talking to those who work or care for their family and have to watch later. I'm kind of addressing people who really don't want to admit they watch this. And yet, obviously, survey says they do. Do you think that wanting to know more about the prevalence and long-term damage of sexual abuse makes you a freak? Do you think that people will feel that you're fixated or obsessed on this topic? It just seems really odd that very few people want to make any kind of a stand and say they don't agree with sexual abuse. And it's almost like a whisper. It's like, well, no, I don't. And the only people really that should be offended by this topic are the predators, okay? Because a lot of people see this and they think, oh, this is about sex. Sex is involved, okay, but this has nothing to do with sex. It's about control. It's about fear. It's about basically someone expressing their complete will over somebody else. Innocent people, okay, that they can be saddened or shocked by these revelations. But why does it offend you? What part of a survivor telling you the truth is offensive or disgusting? If you went outside and your car was rear-ended, okay, you'd inspect every inch of your car, you'd bemoan the paint scratches, you'd call your insurance company and tell everyone for the next 2 weeks about how your car was vandalized. Okay, you'd probably post pictures of it on Facebook and send pictures to your friends, about, look what happened to my car. But here we discuss the vandalization of children. And all of a sudden the cat got everyone's tongue. And I'm not even shocked. I don't know what to say about that. You're driving your car and you've got this huge blind spot behind you. And I'll tell you that this blind spot is where the monsters are, okay? That's where they live. They rely on it. And they literally cannot operate without that blind spot, okay? And remember a few months ago on Facebook, everybody, you were all sharing that picture of a free burger and fries for a fast food chain like McDonald's or something, and it was fake. You'll show pictures of a supposed toilet spider, and it's fake. But this happens and everyone's like, oh, okay, 90% of the victims know their abusers. They know them, 90%. So that means that if something happened to your kid or your friend, they knew that person. You invited them into your home, you hung out with them, you trusted them with your kid, okay? Is that too scary? Okay, let's go on. 98% of the abusers never see jail time, ever. Okay, while as much as 60% of sexual abuse goes unreported. And that's just the people who admitted they didn't report it. Okay, so what about the people that won't even say it happened and didn't report it? So the number increases, right? You're afraid of offending other decent, caring people. You'll let your neighbor know that they leave the car unlocked and that's dangerous, but not this. You disagree with it, but maybe it's not an appropriate thing to bring it out into the open because we're talking about sex with children and it's wrong. Yes, yes, it is wrong. Okay, and maybe it's a little obscene to talk about it. Well, I think it's obscene that it's happening. And I'll tell you one thing, silence and propriety hasn't made my life better. Okay? Silence talking about it and not wanting to upset the little ripples in the pond, that hasn't fixed anything. And, maybe you feel like I'm guilting you right now. Yeah, I am. Okay? You'll share recipes and how-tos and puppy videos, and nobody wants to be associated with this. I'm not even talking about this right here, what I'm doing. I'm just saying this in general. Okay, no one wants to touch it. And that is why the predators are winning and the children are losing. Because no one wants to touch this crap. Except the monsters. Okay? So if I get a little upset once in a while, that's usually what my favorite teething ring is that as much as everyone agrees, almost universally, that this subject sucks, no one wants to know more about it, no one wants to talk about it, and no one wants to fight it. They just agree that it should be wrong. Like, just saying that should make it outlawed. Well, it is outlawed, and it's still happening. So, mini soapbox moment over. One of the things that I brought up is that surviving, just because you can survive, doesn't necessarily mean you know how to live. All right, most of the survivors I personally know, or the ones I've talked to, are chameleons at making friends, having a job, about getting a family, Family, husband, wife, 2.5 kids, dog, picket fence. They know how to get all that, okay? Because you can watch other people, you can watch movies, and it's like, that's what I want. You want that Norman Rockwell moment, I just wanted something normal. I had no idea what normal was. Okay, I had no idea what normal was, but I wanted it anyway. I really wanted that picture. And of course, anyone who has a husband, wife, kids, pets, and all that stuff, they realize that, it's not just about vacuuming and serving the table. You're also screaming at someone for leaving their socks in the middle of the floor. In this case, it would be me. You're arguing, you're doing laundry, you're tired. It's a lot of stress. Families are great, but they're also a lot of stress. And no one really wants to admit that half the time. It's like, oh, you think your families are hard, you're a horrible person. Let's be honest, okay? Being married can be the most wonderful thing in the world, but that person can also drive you crazy sometimes, okay? Because they're not perfect either. And when you get two imperfect people together and they start cracking around, you're bound to have strife, You're going to hit speed bumps. Everything's not always going to be perfect and easy. People get tired. They get sick. Tires blow out. You're going to have problems. And when your own childhood becomes this guilty burden you can't put down, but you don't have any answers for that little kid, you become your own prison warden. And you don't know which part takes priority. You never know if you are allowed to address those issues. And a lot of the people that I've talked to, they're like, I can't think about it. I can't. I have my kids, I have my family, I can't think about it. So I want you to imagine, for those of you that are wonderfully blessed enough to have never experienced this, okay? And I don't care if I hate you, all right? I would never want you to go through that ever. But try to imagine living in a marriage and a family where it feels like you stole it from a more deserving, non-screwed up person, where you view kindness as a prelude to a deal with the devil, and every day is that battle. And one of the things that I've had to come to terms with is my family's very good at being calm. Any of you met my uncle, met my mom, they are calm itself. And unfortunately, right now, that doesn't work for me. I'm not saying that it doesn't ever happen, but sometimes rage just propels me. And I'm angry. I'm angry because I look back on every single opportunity I could have stopped it. Every breath I could have used to say the words, no, don't, stop. Every friend, every family member, every teacher, every freaking stranger to whom I could have whispered, help me. Sounds really easy, doesn't it? Having lived through it, I didn't realize that that was the option. I literally did not think that was the option. Every knife I used to cut my chicken at dinner instead of stabbing it into the guy on my right. And every time my mom picked me up from school, I'm talking about being pissed about 10 million moments. And above all, I'm terrified. I'm terrified because I'm afraid this family and this life I have carved for myself will be taken away. This family that half the time I feel like I've taken it from somebody else because it's so wonderful. My daughter, my husband, my little neurotic pets. If I lose this battle in my head, I lose them. And I could wind up somewhere more trapped than I ever was as a child if I listened to those voices. And I told my uncle yesterday, it's like you throw a party in your head of 50 people and only 3 of them like you. So you got 47 voices in there telling you don't deserve this. You don't. I spend half my time thinking I don't deserve my life. And the other half of the time I'm stressing over when I will lose that life. And in spare moments, I squeeze in time to hate myself. And it's hard to explain that to someone where they're just like, well, how do you do that? And it's like, that's just the way my brain works. Yes, I can cook and clean and do all this for my family. And the whole time I'm doing it, I'm wondering if I'm going to turn around and someone's just going to have a clipboard going, there's been a mistake. You don't get this. So we're going to take it back from you. And that is a very terrifying way to live. And a lot of times my husband ends up paying for that where everything will be going fine. And I am so terrified of not knowing when. I can handle stressful moments. I can handle pain. I can handle rage. I can handle sorrow. When I have joy, it's great. I'm on top of a mountain singing, throwing flowers in the air. And then I wonder, this is so great. When is it going to end? And then it just feels like a ticking clock in the back of my head. And I start panicking when everything's calm. Calm, not great, not bad. It's just calm. That is just the lull before the storm. And it's just like, just get it over with. And I would pick fights with him over nothing. I still do. Just nothing. Just because that tension, me waiting for the next horrible thing. I'm just waiting for it to snap. I spent 2 years fighting with him thinking, okay, you won't leave me. You are the biggest idiot in the world because you should leave me. And at the same time, I'm thinking, please, God, don't give up on me. Don't give up. And so it sounds very, very crazy, and it kind of is, where you are pushing away the one thing that you don't think you can live without. You think you deserve it. You're defiant. You think I've earned this. I want this. I deserve this. I'm a person. And at the same time, you're telling yourself, it's just like, really? I tell myself even in my head, I deserve this, whatever it is. And on the back of my tongue, it tastes bitter. And I get a sick feeling in my stomach. And I feel like I'm going to have someone smack me on the hand and take away even the thought and punish me for thinking it. And that's what it's like to be in the head of a survivor on a bad day, is that you're berating yourself for all the things you didn't do, for all the things you might do. You're grateful for everything you have. And it's like little moments, like grains of sand in an hourglass. Like, when is someone going to take this from me? Because I'm broken, I'm wrong, I'm bad, I'm twisted. And when someone new meets me and they want to be my friend or something, because usually when I'm not broadcasting, I'm a very friendly, funny person. And I'm frantically ecstatic. And I'm also wary at the same time, because I learned at a young age, everyone lies. Everyone wants something. So when I meet someone new, I can't even stop myself. I first think 3 things. How are you going to hurt me? And when? Not if. I've learned there is no if. How are you going to hurt me and when? What is this going to cost me? Because whatever this friendship or relationship is, it is going to cost me something. And the third thing is, I can't even like myself half the time, so why are you liking me? And so almost everyone I meet, I have to remind myself I cannot automatically brand them a liar. I mean, they're out there. They're out there. But that's what goes through my head every time I meet someone. How are you going to hurt me? What is it going to cost? And you're a liar. Like just round tape over and over again. I know saying these things bother people. It bothers them to hear. It's like, well, that's really negative. Yeah, it is. You know, on a great day, I'm just like, get out of my way. Nothing can stop me. I deserve everything good. And there are these days where I realize I'm not going to leave the house. There are weeks where it's just like, I'm lucky if I get a shower twice, you know? And when I shower, I'm in and out in 5 minutes. I'm actually forcing myself to try to take more than a 5-minute shower because I just close my eyes and I get everything clean and I want to get out. I don't even think that touching myself just to get clean is acceptable. And then there are days that I scrub myself 2 or 3 times a day. And I have to remind myself that we have to leave some skin. And the things that all survivors believe in their heart of hearts that they deal with every week, it's maybe I really am just crazy. I can never promise 100% that my children will be safe because I know better. Not enough to end it or anything, but sometimes I think I would trade everything I have for a pine box just to get it over with. I believe that innocence is for children and for adult morons. I believe innocence isn't lost, it's only taken. I really believe everything has a price, and it's usually higher than I thought. I usually believe that happiness is actually a tangible commodity that people can take from you. And sometimes they do just because they can't. So every day I wrestle with those things that sometimes I think are absolute bullshit, and other times I believe that they are freaking gospel. And I'm also trying to run a family. And I try to do it with a smile. And I try not to start screaming at people in the grocery store or the minute my husband gets home. You know, that is when I start thinking about it, I'm starting like, how the hell do I do this? And one of the things I wanted to tell you is that if you do have a family, okay, and this has happened to you, your family needs to know, okay, because there were times my mom thought I was certifiable. Okay, I am pretty sure my husband's way too polite to say this. I'm pretty sure he thought that I was certifiable. And there were times I would just flip the entire game board because I felt safe, because I dared to feel safe. And that'll happen in the calmest of moments. He hasn't done a thing wrong. And I will find one ridiculous thing, like our main joke is the ice cube tray or a trash can or whatever. Never mind that I'm the one who brushes the dog. And out of nowhere, it's like, you haven't brushed the dog. You don't care about me. And now we can fight about something. And then at least the storm breaks and we fought, because I cannot comprehend a week without something wrong. Maybe if it's a little something, that'll stave off all the bad things. And that's something that your family needs to know, what you have gone through and what you have experienced, so that they know what they're dealing with. Otherwise, honestly, they think you're just going to hate them. They just think you hate them. And I know my husband spent several months wondering if I really cared about him or not, or if I just found my new punching bag. And in some ways I did. I did, because I finally got to win a fight. It wasn't the fight. You know, it wasn't the important fight that I wish that I had known that I could fight when I was a kid. But it was a fight against a man. And that meant a lot to me. And he didn't understand it. But a part of him knew that I needed to be in control. I needed to be in complete control. And bless his heart, he let me. Okay? I'm not saying it's a good thing the way we handled it, but he let me. And I know that a lot of people are like, well, sounds like normal girl stuff. Up, down, in, out. Okay, maybe this is just normal girl stuff. I know not every girl gets that crazy. So is it just normal girl crazy? Or have you just picked out all the people that might have experienced this? I don't know. I can't speak for any of them. But that's something to think about, isn't it? If you really think they're just all over the map and they're just spun cookie, is it just a girl thing? Or are you looking at someone else as a survivor? Because I tell you, there were 2 or 3 of my friends growing up that we almost killed each other. We came to blows, verbally at least. And then we found out later, it's just like, oh, wow, we're all messed up in the same way. Now we're great friends, but, we didn't talk to each other for a few years because we all fought the same way. Dirty.
So I can give you a breath of fresh air for a moment. You can relax. And I'll show what Galen Cantrell added to the comment stream. He says, I don't know if you can see that, whether
Yeah.
it's okay. We are so happy to be watching together, and we want you to know that you are not alone and you are not crazy. Love you from the Galen.
Yeah, Galen and Malu, we used to call them the Galu because they were always together.
Got it. So anyway, yeah, you're talking about this redirection of feelings that affects the rest of the relationships around you and your own life for sure. But redirecting the energy where you do not dispense of the problem and be able to get rid of the pressure of what it's doing to you, because it's no doubt a part of the issue that's grabbed on. It's like it's grabbed onto the your life's rudder and causing you to redirect everything and compensate constantly for this misdirection of your boat. And it's got to be just an atrocity. So the redirection shows itself in all relationships, including your one with Steve, and your one with parents, your one with everybody. And it's impossible for them to really relate to what's going on in your life because up until recently, you haven't really been able to voice it, haven't really been able to talk about it and expel some of the pressure cooker pressure that you're cooking all the time. And no doubt we all cook something. We're all cooking something. We're all raising heat. We're all building up pressure. But when you don't feel like you can get rid of it, when you don't have an avenue, a release valve or something, then where does it go? There was a result to your thinking and your feelings, regardless of whether you have that release valve or not.
That's true. Thank you, Roland. That gave me a little bit of a break right there. So that, I'm hearing some echo for some reason. What the heck? Let me turn that down. And it has not been easy to remind myself that I deserve good things just because I wasn't able to deal with a grown-up situation as a child. I still deserve good things, even though I have made mistakes leading from a twisted reasoning. I still deserve good things. And sometimes I say it and I believe it, and sometimes I'm going, yes, I deserve things. I'm a person. I'm beautiful. I deserve love. And that, sometimes I'm telling you, you just got to mumble it and roll your eyes and go through it. Because there are, I don't care who you are, okay? There are people that will miss you if you're gone. All right? Maybe you don't have a wonderful family support group, okay? Maybe your family sucks, all right? Maybe you don't have a sister or a close friend. I am telling you that unless you have done nothing in the last 2 years except sit inside your apartment or a room, there actually are people that will miss your ass, okay? And there are people that are waiting for you to get back here. And when I disappear sometimes and I tell my family, I'm just having a hard day, a hard week, whatever, I know they're waiting for me to come back up for air. And that means a lot. Some days I'm just like, yeah, you're just bugging me. But sometimes their belief has to be my belief. And sometimes I am full of joy and hope and everyone better just watch out. And other times, like this week, I have been propelled by rage. Just, sometimes that's what it takes to get you through that time. And I know a lot of people are really big about you don't need to be angry, or be angry but not so angry. I don't think anyone ever telling me don't be angry has ever worked. Kind of like when you're upset and someone tells you calm down, it's like, oh, okay then, I'm calm. It doesn't work, I know my family's tried it and they just watch me climb the walls like I'm possessed. So that actually goes into the the second part that I wanted to talk about over the course of healing, okay? And you'll do it not in one fell swoop. It's going to be in spurts, in waves, in whatever you want to call it. Over the course of healing, you will get wonderful, expansive, unsolicited, pontificating garbage from people who have no idea what they're saying, okay? The confusing part is they love you, or at least care about you, okay? And society dictates that you can't punch these people in the face, okay? But they say these things like, my family never said this, okay? But I've had some friends say, why didn't you say anything, or say no, or say stop, or fight back? Thank you. Thank you. I have opened myself up to you, which means in some way I trust you. Okay, that's one thing. If someone is talking to you about this, it's not because you walked by. It's because they trust you. And this kind of trust with a nightmare is about as close to the trust of loving someone as I can explain. It's that same kind of trust of, you want to know how to drive me freaking crazy? Here you go. Have my nightmare. Okay, so they're trusting you, and you say, why didn't you do anything? Why didn't you fight back? Thank you. I deal with this, at least on a weekly basis, of hating myself. For wondering, why didn't I say no? Why didn't I kick him in the face? Why didn't I try to rip it off his body? That doesn't help me. Why didn't I say no? I didn't know I could. I literally didn't think that was an option. I thought dying on the spot was an easier option than saying no. You don't tell your parents no. And any one of you with kids, have you ever said anything other than you need to listen to your mother and father? Anyone? I know I say it to my kid, you need to listen to your father. So if you feed that to your kids, and they're not supposed to complain when you ground them, when you scold them, when you give them extra chores. To me, I thought this was another punishment. Why didn't I say anything? Thanks. I'm looking for some kind of a human connection, and you just told me that I cannot connect with you. It doesn't, you think it's so easy. Well, if it's so easy, then millions and millions of us are doomed because we are genetically defunct. Maybe if you hadn't done this, been there, said this, or my favorite, warned this, blah, 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 wouldn't have happened. Okay, so now you're telling me, whether it's a child or a grown-up, okay, now let's just go into a broad range of sexual abuse. So you're saying that if I am not acting like a good person at that time, if I am not telling everyone, leave me alone, if I am wearing something risque, and as a kid I didn't, but like I said, I'm throwing it in with everyone, that entitles someone else to your body. So because it's there, they get it. Does that make sense? Does that really make sense? So if I don't say no, yes is implied? How would you feel about that if someone did that to you? How would you feel about that if that applied to your children, to your nieces, to your cousins, to your friends? That if I do not specifically say no, yes is implied. That's great. That doesn't help me. Stop living in the past. That's a good one. Because sometimes I can't see a future, or if I see it, I think that I don't get to have it. Stop living in the past. It's like you're saying it like I have a choice. If I wanted to relive a memory, I would love for it to be a happy one. But sometimes at the moment when I'm sharing it, I can't. That is what is on constant backplay in my head. And I cannot shake it. That's why people cut. That's why people drink. That's why people do drugs. And they have a horrible amount of unprotected sex. Because at that point, they're just trying to shake it out of their heads. You tell them to stop living in the past. Oh, okay. Okay. They're trying. You just want attention. This has never been said to me directly. Okay. And that makes sense because there's no one I know with a broken jaw. If there really was a way I wanted to get attention, I have multiple other ways to get attention. I am highly intelligent. I am attractive. I am hilarious. Ask anybody. Okay? Not right now, but I am hilarious. I am hardworking. And I'm accomplished in a variety of hobbies. Okay? I could get attention any other way. This is not about attention. So someone actually, I stood up for myself. I'm such a bitch. So that's really how people want to get attention, is that someone took control of their body. Who the hell would want that? I don't care if you're a guy or a girl. Who the hell would want to be known for that? I never saw him be abusive. He seemed so nice. They're predators. If they went around snaggle-tooth drooling, like, grabbing at people every time you saw someone, they'd be found out really quick. So just like the survivors, predators know how to survive by acting like people with souls, So it's like, people have they've turned in nice-looking authorities. And it's like, well, I don't understand. They're always so nice when I see them. They're always so kind. They're always so gentle. It's like, yes, they know how to do that. That doesn't mean that they are never capable of anything else. It's like, okay, my friends see me like, well, they always seem so happy. I'm not happy all the time. Sometimes I'm a bitch. Sometimes I am a whiny jerk. That's not always who I am. So you're saying because you never saw that person molest or rape or do anything else, you didn't see it, so it's not true. Well, that's a great way to make someone never talk to you again. Why are you shaming this person? Why are you letting them take on the blame? And why would you do that to anyone? And my favorite, and let me say this and then explain it, okay? Because it's going to touch someone's going to get their feathers ruffled on it. When someone tells me, I'll pray for you. Christianity is great, okay? Christianity is wonderful. And if it works for you, I am so glad, okay? But just about every survivor, either temporarily or to this date permanently, has had a crisis of faith, okay? Telling someone then, I'll pray for you, will actually push them further away from your faith. You can think it. You can think it and you can mean it with every fiber of your being, because prayer is positive and nothing but good can come from it. I'm not saying don't pray for people, okay? But if someone is in the throes of agony in front of you, if they don't ask for it, don't tell them, because it just sounds like a pat on the head. It's like, I'll pray for you and everything's going to be better. At that point, they're looking at you like, how does that help me? That doesn't help me. Where were my prayers? So it wouldn't happen, So I'm not telling people to not pray for their friends and family. But if you're going to do it, do it in your head. Your prayers can affect them whether or not you actually tell them. Because I've seen a lot of people just go, that's it, I'm swearing off religion, or I'm swearing off that religion. And you don't want that either if that's what you believe in, okay? So that's a hard part, because Christians want to say, I will pray for you, because to them it is a wonderful, nurturing, loving, sharing thing. And to a lot of survivors, especially right then, they just kind of want to give you the middle finger. You want to know how to help someone? Just be there. Be there and let them know how angry you are for them. how sad you are, how you wish you had known, how you want to hug them. Don't touch them without asking first. Because there are some times I'm sharing a memory and I don't even want my husband to touch me. He wants so badly to hold me and comfort me. And I don't want him. I don't want skin on skin. I can't. Okay, so if you want to comfort someone, say, can I hold you? Can I touch you? Can I hold your hand? And let them answer you, because sometimes you crave it so badly, and yet the touch of someone else's skin makes you want to scream. And I mean, like, makes you want to rip off your own skin and just bleed on the floor and just lose it. Even while you're craving some kind of connection, sometimes the most you can have is just knowing that person's in the room. And that's almost too close. But it's easier than shouting down a hallway. So it's like, okay, you could be over here and I'll be over there. And I cannot stress the importance of therapy. I cannot, okay? I don't have any particular therapist to like sit there and say, you got to talk to this person, okay? But there are times when everyone you love, your family, your friends, your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your sister, your brother, there's going to be a point, okay, no matter how much they love you, that they're going to wring their hands and feel so powerless, okay, because they don't know what to do, and it is killing them that you are in hell, okay? You are in hell, and they can't do anything except be there, and it's like, well, that's not enough. I love that person. And this is where professional help comes in, okay? That doesn't mean you're crazy. It means these people are trained to help you with trauma, with loss, with grief. Probably your family isn't trained for this, They love you, but they don't know what to do with it. If you were going to go get surgery, unless your brother's a surgeon, you wouldn't go to him, If you needed, if you needed your car worked on, if your husband doesn't know how to do it, you're going to go to somebody else, right? This is you. This is inside you. And therapists, most therapists, okay, they're really good at helping you untangle that knotted ball. And a lot of people hate therapists. It's like, well, you know why you hate them? Is because they make you talk about the things that hurt. That's what they're doing, is they're making you talk about these things that suck. And they make you realize things about yourself that are not happy, not pretty. They help you find the good things too. One of the things that sucked for me when I went to therapy is I realized I was in not this relationship, another horrible relationship, and I stayed in it. It was abusive. And I stayed in it because as long as I did what he told me, if I failed, it wasn't my fault. You want to talk about pissed off? I was pretty pissed off when I realized I chose to stay in there because I was so afraid of my personal failure. And I was so afraid of my own success that it was easier to be under the thumb of someone. And that wasn't good. And then, of course, I flipped it around. And then when I got married, I spent several years trying to keep my husband under my thumb because I was terrified. I didn't understand equal. Well, theoretically, I understood equal. But in most relationships with a man, one was in charge and one wasn't. And the one who was in charge pretty much always won. And I was determined that I was not going to lose. So my sweet, wonderful, adorable, intelligent, strong husband kind of became my whipping boy. And it wasn't his fault. I just couldn't handle arguments because I saw that as a threat. Every single little thing of, well, how about we move the chair this way? How about we put the table this way? And I'm just like, you're going to do it. You're going to take over my whole life. No, you won't. No, you won't. I get to say no. I get to say when. I get to say everything. And I controlled almost everything under the roof. And he let me. He let me. And it took me a few years to realize you don't do that to someone you love. You do it to someone you don't love, that you want to be a jerk to and maybe never see again. But if it's someone you love and you're married to them and you see them almost every day, you do not control them like this. You don't even control your children like this. So I took that stupid lesson, and I realized I'm doing it. I'm doing it to my own family members. My way or the highway. And that's where therapy comes in, because it's like I need to learn how to be a healthy person. I am allowed to have boundaries. You know, I'm allowed to say no to certain things. But it can't always be no, shut up, no, shut up, no, shut up, you're wrong, you're always wrong. That doesn't give your partner any leeway, any voice. And finding your voice, you will take their voice away if you're not careful. And I was reveling in having strength and having a voice. I didn't let him have his voice for years. Not at home. Not at home at all. I mean, now when I try to give him a voice, he's terrified. He's like, "Oh my God, you've yelled at me at this before." And he's just like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yes, I swear. I swear it's okay. This is something we both deserve." I don't think I could have gotten there without therapy, because until I went to therapy, I thought that way of acting was great. I thought that was awesome. That was something that I got to do. I didn't have to take it anymore. I got to dish it out. I didn't understand that is a horrible way to be. I just didn't want to be the loser anymore. So yeah, everyone can hate me, but therapy. And there are 3 hotlines at the bottom of the details page for this event that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, confidential. Not only can you talk to someone, like right away, you can talk to them and you can talk about anything you want about this stuff, and they'll listen to you, and they're trained for this. They will also help you find local resources. So those 3 hotlines at the bottom are, they're there for everyone. If you're in the military, call one source. You could talk to someone at 3 o'clock in the morning. I've done it, just so you don't feel like cutting up the river, just so you don't feel like banging your head against the wall. That's what these hotlines are for. You can call friends and family. I don't know about you, but even though they say it, and I'm pretty sure they mean it, because I'm not on fire, I don't want to call them at 3 in the morning. I feel like a jerk. It's like, oh, I'm sad. No one's dying. I'm just sad. And I feel like I can't do that. Okay? And they probably would get out of bed for me on this. I don't know. I haven't done it yet. I haven't called past 11 o'clock, and I haven't called before 5. So between the hours of 11 and 5, that's what these hotlines are for. They'll talk to you. They don't think you're crazy. They understand. That's why these hotlines exist. These hotlines aren't just to get a net out and take all the loonies and shuffle them off into someplace on Long Island. They're there because they know you need to talk to someone. It's when you internalize everything that then you start feeling really crazy. And so technically, with all the talking I've done in my life, you should think I should be totally mellow, but I'm not done yet.
I know you're not done, but I'm going to interject.
Yay!
As you were speaking earlier, we were talking about rights and privileges in a way, because we were talking about the concept of being implied that it was okay to do whatever was done. And what I definitely have an aversion to, I've got a major problem with this. When people say it's implied, or that yes is implied, if you don't say no, yes is implied, or if they assumed, or if they thought, I just consider all of that stuff. Nothing justifies what is wrong. So if you're gonna use that type of an argument, well, you suck in the first place. But I mean, that's just not right. You're supposed to know better. That's what being human is. That's what being intelligent is, and being well. Let's just move on. And also, we have a few people who have been commenting. Dan Weeks says, "I generally distrust any simplistic reactionist answer to any complex, painful problem." Thank you for that. And
Yeah,
your
definitely.
Steve comments back to Dan, "It's always easy to minimize a problem when it doesn't apply to you." And so much of what is experienced in life cannot apply to the people because we're not all experiencing these things. And,
Absolutely.
and Dan follows up with, "I'll pray for you" is so often well intentioned, but too often manifests as I'm not going to do anything, but I'm going to act like I did something.
And
And
that it feels like that for the survivor.
that's right. And you know what? It's really a worthless statement on the receiving end at the time, because when people think, "I'll pray for you," "I'll pray for you," "You'll pray for me." Well, what did you what are you going to do about this? I'm not going to see any motion out of you past the point of this conversation, but you're going to pray for me, and it's really pretty hollow. So you gave these different things the hotlines, and I wanted to see if they would post. Wow, check it out. All three of them in the same post. So we've got that into the video itself.
Yay!
I wanted to make sure that we had that. So we got the three hotlines: National Domestic Violence Hotline, National Sexual Assault Hotline, and National Child Sexual Abuse Hotline. And we got them all three in there.
That's only for the USA, and I didn't actually look at anything for Canada or the UK. Sorry, but
That's okay.
that's at least a starting point. And
Yeah. Well, if they have them for the USA, they're going to have something similar for other nations.
yeah,
And people should be inspired to do the research. If the subject is important to them, they'll find resources.
yeah,
So you had 3 points that you were going to make, and we're about three-quarters of the way through the hour. So
yeah.
maybe you want to recoup and see what our next move is in the conversation.
Okay. The last thing is that like I said, with a few exceptions, survivors have a job or they work at home, or like I'm a stay-at-home mom right now, but you have like a husband or a wife, a girlfriend, you have kids, you have pets, you have a life, okay? And a lot of times people are saying, how do you still juggle those and deal without things falling down? You don't. That's something that you're going to hate hearing. You don't, okay? Because if you try to imagine how you juggle everything, you fall. Okay, so usually the response is, I'm not going to think about it. Okay, not going to think about it. I'm just going to live my life. And I'm going to tell you from personal experience, okay, the more you try to hide it and push it down, the less control you have over the tidal waves that break over your head. And they will start to happen when you least expect it, okay? Your brain will push it to the front, because after how many months or years, it's like, now it's time to deal with this. You feel safe, everything's going well. Now we're going to deal with this. And the reason I keep bringing up therapy is they are trained to help you navigate the walls and pitfalls and the swirling maelstrom that traps you inside your own head and makes you afraid to take a step. Okay? Because you start off, it's like, okay, yeah, denial, bargaining, all this other stuff. Okay? There gets to a point when you swing between rage and depression. And sometimes it happens over and over and over again. And for, people will lovingly try to push you to the next step, which is acceptance. And I'm saying right now that it is not that easy. It is not that quick. I would love for it to be, and some people it is, okay? I'm not going to lie. Some people it is. For the rest of us that are not graced with that, it takes everything you have for this war. And the war is against you. The war is against you, okay? So you have the toughest opponent in the world because it's you. And you've already proven that you're a stubborn SOB because you've gotten this far, You don't have to be a CEO of anything, okay? You have gotten this far. You are alive, you are breathing, and you have people. You have people near you and around you, and maybe a house plant, okay? The more you try to push it, it is going to crack out of you eventually. And like right now, I'm angry, okay? I have a right to be angry. Right now, I'm trapped in it, okay? Right now, I'm screaming in my own head. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I hate him. I hate me. I hate everything. I love everything. And it's a paradox, okay? I feel guilty for wanting to take time for myself and angry that I even have to consider if I have a right to take time for myself, okay? Most survivors, but not all, we have families that we're responsible for. Those are both a lifeline, Okay, they are imperative. Some days they are the reason I get out of bed in the morning, and some days they are the prickliest burden, just like anyone with a family. You know, I love my kid. Okay, I love my husband. Sometimes it's like, okay, remember, I love my kid. I love my husband. Because we're all human. Okay, there's no guarantee that when you stop being angry, you won't be angry again. Okay, and sometimes people are like, well, I thought we already went through this. Well, we're gonna go through it again. Okay, and we're gonna go through it again until I don't need it anymore. I can go back to being angry. I can go back to being sad. Okay, yes, the grand goal is peace. Okay, but I've been pissed about this at least a dozen times, and I'm probably gonna be pissed a dozen more because you know what? I like being angry. I don't mean being like angry all day, but about this, I like being angry. You know why? Because at least I'm not sitting in a corner curled up thinking I'm worthless. I'd much rather be angry. You know what? Anger makes me say, I'm not going to go down without a fight. And that memory sometimes is what keeps me from staying in depression. I get pissed. And if that's what it takes, then that's what I'm going to do. Maybe I can't zen my way out of this. Sometimes I cannot just calmly talk myself through it. It's like, nope, we're going to fight. We're going to fight today. And the couple things that have worked for me, okay, and they are small, stupid little things, okay? But it's the stupid little things that add up. You take time every day to do one little stupid thing for you. I don't care if it's a shower, it counts, okay? Put lotion on your hands, girls, or guys, you know, don't tell anyone.
Trinette, you have to white box yourself.
I have to white box myself?
Yeah, white box.
Okay, well, good. There we go.
Malfunction.
Look at me now.
Please.
Yeah. Call a friend, okay? Watch a show. Go for a walk, okay? Do one little thing. I don't care if it's 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes in your day to do it just for you, not for someone else, just you. Okay, I don't care if it's hygiene. I don't care if it's stupid, like you spin a quarter on the table. That's yours. Remember to do that for you. You need to get used to doing something just for you. Take time. One of the things that got me to stop losing it every time I was with people or around my family, literally schedule yourself time to think about this. If you set aside some time, I kid you not in a day, not in a week, but in about a month, you'll realize that you were able to focus then on the anger, the pain, the fear, whatever. And then knowing that you have that appointment with yourself, it is easier. Doesn't make it go away. Doesn't make it go away. I won't lie to you. It is easier to know I have this time set aside. It is for me. I can feel all these things. That's when I cry. That's when I beat the pillows. That's when I roll around the ground like a freaking, broken bug. That is when I am going to do this. I will let it out. I am not crazy. These are all the feelings I have. Take pictures of yourself. Don't do Facebook selfies. Okay, just take pictures of yourself. List everything you don't like about yourself, and you'll find a lot, okay? You find one good thing, okay? To me, today, one good thing is I don't have a zit on this side of my chin, but I got them all right here, okay? I got this weird keloid scar because I keep scratching and digging at it, and now it's like this weird button on my chin. I hate that, okay? But I don't have one on this side. That's a good thing. Okay, then you take this picture, and you show it to someone you like, okay? Like your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your sister, heck, even your kid, okay? And it's like, okay, what do you like about this? And you will be shocked at how many things they can find that they like. And maybe it's not in the picture. They just start talking about you. And it's just like, wow, I look at my picture and I see Jabba the Hutt with a wig. But you look at me and I'm funny and I'm great and I'm this and I'm that and I bake cookies and blah, blah, blah. Wow, you think I'm awesome. And you can think in the back of your head, well, this person's stupid, but I still appreciate the offer. That's fine. Get used to realizing that you don't suck. That actually is hard, is to realize you don't suck. I mentioned before, have certain people to call when the wall's crashing down, which is why some, like the hotlines, military, they have one source. Call them before you cut yourself. Call them before you scratch another gash in your scalp with your nails, before you start banging your head against the wall or against a window. Call these people. And this is harder than it sounds. It's like, just pick up a phone. It's that easy. You see billboards going on the highway, just pick up a phone. And yet when you are in the middle of that, you don't think you can, okay? So I'm telling you to remind yourself, okay, because it's really hard to do, is to actually ask for help, because survivors have seen it doesn't always pay off to ask for help, okay? So it's as scary as that is, realize asking for it is going to give it to you. I know we're a couple minutes away. But most people don't reach out, either to tell you it all or to talk about it later, because it sounds way too melodramatic in their heads, okay? Way too pathetic, like a movie, okay? But where do you think movies got it from? Okay, you know how I went to therapy and my therapist started talking about you need to reach the inner you. And I will tell you that I told her she was full of it, and I rolled my eyes. And I was like, yeah, this is way too Hollywood. Oh, find the inner Trinette, find the inner child, talk to the inner me. Ah, okay, I actually did all that in her office. And she's like, yeah, Hollywood picked up on it and made it more realistic in the movies. It still is real. And it took me a long time to get through heckling myself. It's like, I'm going to talk to the inner me. It is true, because there's a part of you that just stops at that age and there, and stays there. So as crazy as all this sounds, these little things of taking time for you, knowing and training yourself, if you need to contact these people, these hotlines, your friends, whatever it is, because it actually is more important than just sitting there curled up in a corner of your room at 2:00 in the morning. That actually is necessary. I'm not there yet. It doesn't fix everything, obviously, because I'm still bent about so many things and I'm still tortured by so many things. But those are things that actually have helped. Whee!
You've voiced a lot of things and expressed a lot of things in this hour, Trinette. Thank you very much for offering the three hotlines, and we've got them posted in the event stream, in the event itself, in the video, and also in the details of the event. And people can reach out and find help if they need it. There are, I mean, this is no big black hole. People know this is happening, and there are movements around to support those who are suffering as a result of it. And so for you, speaking out brings to mind that these things exist, that the problem exists in the first place, and that we need to be speaking of it more and more and get over it. We need to get over the fact that we have a hard time speaking about the subject, and share and develop a conversation that does something about it from the ground level up, so that the people start thinking about it differently and doing a different thing and doing something about it when they hear about it. Because well, one of the things that just pulverizes me every time I hear it is the percentage of people who suffer through abuse, and they not only know the people, but they're actually friends and family of the
They're
victims.
close.
Yeah, exactly. And that just completely startles me.
Yeah. It's
So
kind of hard. It's
obviously,
kind of hard to pay attention to that without starting a witch hunt, you know?
yeah, well, nobody wants to turn the binoculars on their own family and to start looking around. Nobody wants to do that. And yet, if they were to think about which ones of the kids had problems, which one of the family members acted weird, there's a decent chance that the reason they were different and acting weird was because of something they experienced, and it very well could have been this subject today.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the hard part, is my family was just like, well, you always acted so manic or so this or so that. Now, 25 years later, it's textbook on, but in the 80s, no one knew that stuff. So they just thought I was a misbehaved little child.
I was part of the congregation that was looking on at you like you were a misfit and a malfunctioning teenager. And, I don't think that I necessarily bought into that whole thing, but it was definitely the premise from which we were looking at you.
Yeah.
And as your uncle, I was destined to start at that point. And lo and behold, it took me, 50 years to get around to talking to you about it, what really happened.
Oh, so we're gonna wrap it up. We're actually right at the 7 o'clock mark, but we're gonna start broadcasting Monday nights at 7 o'clock Pacific time because that's gonna work out a little easier for both of us.
By the way, I guess I didn't mean 50 years. You're not that old, are you?
I don't think so. I don't
Yeah.
think so. I that would have had to start about 16 years before I was born.
Yeah. So let's correct the timeline there a little bit, but consider it corrected. Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you very much, Trinette.
Okay. Thank you guys for listening. Whether you're listening to it right now or later, I appreciate that. And we'll be back on Monday with new topic. Well, same topic, just a different branch. All right, everybody. You
You
have a
know,
good weekend. What?
I'm going to interject. I'm going to interject because Dan Weeks has a question, so
Oh yeah,
I'm going to get
definitely.
it. I'm going to get it recorded in the conversation, even if it's too much to answer right now. We're going to address it at some point. So the question, if we have time, let's say someone we know and love does come out to one of us and we want to help, but perhaps we are self aware enough to know that we're probably not equipped to really help in a way a therapist could. What would be the way to nudge him or her in the right direction? I don't know
That's
if you caught all that, but it's a pretty
love the icon, by the way. Gotta love South Park. Yay, Stan.
yeah.
So Dan, that's it's gonna sound like I'm prevaricating a bit because that there isn't a blanket one formula for everybody. Um,
Yeah.
some of those people, some people actually need to be browbeaten into it. Other people, it's honestly like my mom dragged me. She dragged me almost kicking and screaming to therapy. Okay, and at the time I hated her for it because I was in high school and it's just like, oh, you're making me talk to grown-ups. I hate you. The great part about it is if they're under that age, you actually can drag them kicking and screaming to therapy. So, at that point, they can kind of hate your butt, but if you don't take them to therapy, you could also wind up in jail. So you can remind them of that. If they are older, realize, reiterate, you don't go to therapy because you're nuts, okay? Because crazy people don't go around wondering if they're crazy. They're convinced they're sane, okay? So if you wonder if you're crazy, that would actually be a good thing. When you let them, like he says, let them know that they're not alone. That's the biggest part. If they're ready to talk and heal, share with them all the resources to help them overcome their survivor's guilt. Well, thank you. Once again, you take what I was going to say in 10 minutes and put it into 10 seconds, just like a man. Let them know they're not alone. Let them realize that this is not an isolated incident. This is not as much as the bad guys want you to think. It's there. The truth is out there, man. It's there. And there's a lot of help out there for you. And that's something that if they have any kind of family or job, it's like not just for you. You want to be better for your family. You want to be better for your children. You want to be better so that you can take your life back. That's definitely what I would want to impress. And it may take more than one time. One of my friends, it took them a year of me hammering at them. It's like, you need to, yeah, talking to me is great. I'm awesome. But you need to find that person that is going to be able, they've read all the books, they've done all the stuff, they know the program of how your mind works, and they know how to reset. I don't know how to reset. My therapist taught me how to reset. It's like, wow, this is great. I invented this. She's like, yeah, whatever you think, but it worked for me. And it's not just one way they'll teach you. They'll show you all these opportunities on how you can take back your life. So don't give up on them. Do not give up on them. I don't care if you have to staple those hotlines and all the group supports in the area all around their house. Don't give up on them. And thank you. Thank you for being one of the people that's actually wanting to know what to do. So I babbled my way 5 minutes over the mark, and but that was worth it. That was worth it. And we'll see you guys again on Monday night, okay? Everyone have a good night and a good weekend.